What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, ever since I did that Star Wars Battlefront 3 video, I've really been in the Star Wars mood. Now, I've been on my Xbox 360 recently a lot, and I've been exploring the marketplace on there, and I found out that they have most of the Xbox games up on the store for only $5 a piece. I think the one missing is Obi-Wan, so I decided to take a look at most, if not all, of the Star Wars Xbox games, and I figure what better way to start than to cover the Battlefront franchise. Yes, I know this is a PS2 copy, it's all I had. Around 2007 or 2008, I can't really remember, a friend showed me the Battlefront franchise, but more specifically Battlefront 2. And I just remember us staying up all night playing Star Wars Battlefront 2. I had a lot of fun with it, and the game really did leave an imprint on me. I have a lot of nostalgia for Battlefront 2, so it's really weird that I never really played a lot of Battlefront 1. I guess since I figured 2 did everything better, I really didn't find a need to go back to Battlefront 1. But I did want to cover it for this video, because it would be kind of weird reviewing Battlefront 2 by itself when Battlefront 1 laid the groundwork for the franchise. Well, on September 21st, 2004, Star Wars Battlefront was released. Pandemic Studios is who we have here to thank for developing both this game and its sequel. And before I get into anything else, I do want to say Battlefront 1 is a good stepping stone for the franchise. It's a good first step. But Battlefront 1 is a little bit of a weird game. For one, it's pretty small in the grand scheme of things, with there not being that many game modes to play. It's also a lot slower paced than I realized. One of the biggest appeals to Battlefront 2 to me was the instant action mode, and well, it's here as well. There are a handful of maps to pick from, and you can pick whatever era you want to play in as well. The gameplay for a first shot feels pretty solid here. The shooting feels good, although the controls were a little weird for me at first, but that's only because I was adjusted to the updated controls in Battlefront 2. And while everything in Battlefront 1 is good, one thing that drives me mad, and I didn't even realize that it wasn't in the game, but Battlefront 1, there is no run button. Oh, look at this, I'm trying to film, and little Missy wants to come over and say hi. But because you can't run in this game, they want you to use vehicles, and I gotta say, I'm not really a vehicle person. I've always been a ground combat person. Man, it is so slow getting around anywhere in this game when you just want to run. However, one thing I do like about Battlefront 1 is how close the camera is. It makes it feel like every level is a bit more grander than what it actually is. Unfortunately, Battlefront 1 doesn't really have much to offer. This is definitely a good game, and it's a good first step for the franchise. However, if you wanted a more grounded Star Wars experience, Battlefront 1 does deliver on that. It seems more serious in its presentation. There is a game mode on here called Historical Events where it puts you in the perspective of the clones of the rebels reliving some of the battles from the movies. This is what this game considered its campaign, and I mean that's fine. The more and more I play Battlefront 1, the more it feels like an incomplete package. Not because it's bad or that it was rushed, but you can definitely tell that they wanted to do a lot more with the formula. Like, for another thing is, you can't even be a Jedi in Battlefront 1. Sure that the Jedis can come help you during battle, but for me playing as them, you can't do it. Although I do gotta say, I do love how stylized that the Battlefront 1 menus are. Everything here looks really cool, like something pulled right out of the Star Wars universe. However, just over a year later, Pandemic decided to give it another shot. On November 1st, 2005, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was released. And holy shit, guys, this is how you do a sequel. And I know I'm extremely biased, but I'm just gonna come out and say it. I love Battlefront 2. I love this game so much. Battlefront 1 is fine, but man, Battlefront 2 just improved on everything. The shooting in this game feels way better, and it also helps that the lock-on also feels way better in this game. And oh my god, you can now run! The run button was added. I had no idea how much I actually missed the run button when I stopped and went back to play Battlefront 1. Instant action returns from the first game, however, now it's way better than it's ever been. The map selection also has been extended upon. Some of the maps from Battlefront 1 come back, and there are way more added to that, Conquest mode definitely comes back, and being that's the only mode in Battlefront 1 you can do, in here, obviously, it's been updated to perfection. Back in Battlefront 1, you could only play as the clones or the rebels. You couldn't actually play as a Jedi or a Sith. I mean, sure, some could come down and help with the fight like Vader did here, but that's about it. But when you're doing really well in the Galactic Conquest and the other modes that you get to play in this game, you get the option to become a Jedi or a Sith, depending on what team you are on. And slowly does the battle start to become one-sided. The heroes are so fast in this game, like way faster than any clone or rebel could ever be. When everyone else is playing as a clone and rebel, then the Jedis are a little overpowered, but I feel like if you teamed up on one, you can die very easily, because I mean, you can't be a Jedi forever. But I'm assuming Pandemic Studios knew this, that's why they created a whole mode called Assault, or better known as Heroes vs. Villains. This is my favorite mode of the game, and honestly, it's the biggest appeal to Battlefront 2 to me. I absolutely love picking a Layla Secura, force pulling them into me, and then just wrecking them, using both of my double sabers for some area of damage. She's objectively the best character, and my go-to. Out of all the modes in Star Wars Battlefront 2, this mode is the best. However, it's worth noting, if you are playing Battlefront 2 new on an original Xbox, none of the DLC are there, you only get to play in Mos Eisley on Heroes vs. Villains. But when they brought over Battlefront 2 for the backwards compatibility, they added a frame boost, bigger screen, and every single DLC that Battlefront 2 had with it. Just automatically there, right in the beginning, for free. So if you're playing on a 360, an Xbox One, or Xbox Series S or X, you can play Battlefront 2 in all of its glory. And the Heroes vs. Villain mode is on a lot more maps too. Now, it's not a Star Wars game if I'm not talking about the space battles, but I gotta tell you guys something. I'm not really a fan of the space battles. It's not because I think they're bad or anything, it's just I'm not a flying guy. I really don't like flying game modes in games. Like Call of Duty, Halo, whenever they decide to throw you in a flying section, I just groan out loud because I literally cannot stand that. I hate when I'm forced to fly in a game. However, hearing a lot of people on YouTube talk about how good the space combat is, I'm not an idiot. I'm not just gonna call it bad because I personally dislike it. I'm pretty sure there is a lot here for people to love, and I'm glad that it's a mode that people can play and get some enjoyment out of, even though I may not. There's some pretty cool stuff here, and I can even see that when I do play it, but no thanks, I'm good. And if that's one thing I like about the campaign, is that it lets you skip them. Oh yeah, Battlefront 2 has a campaign! So Battlefront 1 didn't really have a campaign, just those historical events you could play through, like I said. Although, Battlefront 2 does have a full campaign called Rise of the Empire. Rise of the Empire is interesting because the story takes place between episode 3 and 4. Like a lot of things do nowadays. And it's all from the clones' perspectives and how they go through the missions that happen during the films. The campaign is all about getting Chancellor Palpatine's plans done and help him get Order 66 off the ground and running, and some post-game after that. To be honest, I haven't played the campaign all the way through yet, but from what I did play, I can definitely tell that this is something special here. The narration from the retired clone is also pretty good. His narration is just so well acted. And another cool thing about it is that they brought the guy who played Jango Fett in to do these narrations, so it's really cool how they tie into the movies like that. And he talks about what it was like working with the Jedi and how hard it was for him and his troops to betray them in the end. One of my favorite moments happened after you complete the second mission.
First was finally rotated out of Felucia. Ayla Secura made a point of seeing us off personal, calling us the bravest soldiers she had ever seen. It's a good thing we were wearing helmets, because none of us could bear to look her in the eye.
It's very chilling, and it shows you at the end of the day, whether these clones liked it or not, they had to follow orders, and it builds character and it makes the world feel real, like stakes are actually in place here. I didn't bring it up in Battlefront 1, but I love how both of these games uses clips from the movies. And Battlefront 2 has this in-game cinematics, and they're pretty good and stylized. Even if it is just gameplay made to look more cinematic, it's still good. I think it's crazy that I have spent years on Battlefront 2, and I'm just now getting to the campaign. But to defend my kid self just a little bit, I never really needed it. In fact, I don't even think I would have appreciated the story back in the day. I only really needed instant action, you know, with the Galactic Conquest and the Heroes vs. Villains. At the end of the day, that's all I really needed. But now, as a grown-up, I can sit down and play the campaign and really, really get invested into it and enjoy it for what it's worth. I'd also like to note that 4 years later, Star Wars Battlefront II made its way onto the PSP, and I figured it would be cool if we took a look at that as well. Graphically, the PSP port is pretty solid, and while cutting the story mode, Battlefront 2, it's all here. But I just cannot with these controls, man. The PSP doesn't have a camera stick, so how do you think they got past this? They made you use the face buttons to look around. And yeah, it works, but it's not ideal. Also, why does Layla have a purple lightsaber in this port? That's weird, and it's something I noticed. And yeah, those were pretty much the Battlefront games, both fantastic games in their own right. Battlefront 1 is a more slower paced game and a bit more grounded, which at points I do enjoy more. Also, I like how the good team is green in this game, and that's something I wish that would have came over the Battlefront 2, but you know, who's really complaining? And Battlefront 2, while having its flaws and some lagginess when things get hectic on the screen, I think I can safely say that this game is a masterpiece. I've been playing it for years, and I will be playing it for years to come. And I didn't even bring up the split-screen multiplayer. Whether it's playing with my brother or with my friends, there's always some fun to be had here. Hopping on some heroes versus villains together and taking out the villains, or teaming up together on some conquest and slowly taking over the other side with brute force. To this day, the split screen is still some of the most fun I have ever had, and it hopes that it's fun and balanced. Well, balanced for the most part. There is split screen multiplayer for Battlefront 1, however, I do have more memories with Battlefront 2's multiplayer, so I can't really say much for Battlefront 1. It is a shame to what happened to Free Radical's Battlefront 3. It truly did feel like that was going to be the next step in the direction, and then we were going to get an epic trilogy where every game just got better as it came out. And then the EA got its mitts on the franchise and with its reboot, and well, we all know how those games went. But hey, we are just getting started on the Xbox Star Wars games. Not back to back, but I will be going through every single Xbox Star Wars game. So if that at all interests you, please can I get you to hit that like button? Can we try to get this video up to 10 likes? That would be much appreciated. And also, if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of this, then hitting that subscribe button with the bell for post notifications on will always help you, and it'll help me make sure that you don't ever miss it. I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter, and you guys can go follow me. The links to those will be in the description below. Guys, the Battlefront games. Yes, I'm finally happy I got to talk about Star Wars Battlefront. If you guys have any memories of Star Wars Battlefront, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll get to you when I get to you. I have a bad feeling about this.